So let's look closer at the muscle cell. So this is a muscle cell here, also called a muscle fiber. We call it a muscle fiber, because that's what it looks like. It spans the whole length of the muscle. It's a long thing, and it looks more like a fiber than a cell, but it is a cell. So this is a part of a muscle cell here, and this part outside, right here, is the sarcolemma. Okay, it's a cell, it's got a plasma membrane, but of course this plasma membrane's got a funny name to it called the sarcolemma. So the plasma membrane. Inside of here, so this is the whole cell. We got the sarcolemma surrounds the entire cell. So that means each one of these guys is a myofibril. So all of those, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shown here. Okay, so those are myofibrils. Myofibrils are filled with myofilaments. So actin and myosin. And if we pull this myofibril out, like what's here, and we slice it in half and look into it, this is what it would look like. You've got thick filaments that are in the blue. So those are myosin, and I guess that's pink. Pink filaments are the actin, the thin filaments. All right, so back on the cell, we have the sarcolemma, we have the myofibrils here, and all the myofibrils are surrounded with this weird blue spidery looking thing, and that is called the Sarcoplasmic Reticulum. And the Sarcoplasmic Reticulum is important because it houses calcium ions. Okay, so it stores calcium ions. Very important because we've got to have calcium in order to have contraction. So the Sarcoplasmic Reticulum, where you see all this sort of spidery web looking part, on the sides over here, they thicken. So these are like the thicker areas of the Sarcoplasmic Reticulum. And the areas that are thicker, that don't look like spider webs, these are called terminal cisternae. So you see next to that, or inside of that, is this yellow thing. The yellow thing is basically an extension or invagination of the sarcolemma. So these little holes right here are all connected with one of these yellow tubes. And these yellow tubes are called T-tubules or transverse tubules. And they are key because they bring the stimulus into the muscle cell, okay? And that stimulus is what brings out the calcium out of that sarcoplasmic reticulum. So the areas where there is a T-tubule and terminal cisternae on each side, that's called a triad. All right, so these yellow things here, all these over here, these are all T-tubules. There. So if we look at this myofibril, we know that there are thin filaments, that's the pink ones here, and the thick ones, which are the purple, I guess that's purple lines there. So the purple ones are thick, the pink ones are thin. Okay, so this area is actin. This area is actin. This area right here is actin and myosin, and so is that one here. And then right here is just myosin. And that weird layering gives it its little stripes. That's what makes it look striated on the microscope. So the actin is connected to this little Z-looking thing. And that's called the Z line. And this is where the actin are what they're anchored to. So here's a Z line, and here's a Z line. This area right here is called the M line. And that's where the myosin are anchored. Okay? So when a muscle contraction occurs, the myosin will reach up and grab actin, will bind to actin, and then pull it towards its M line. When it does that, that means the Z line is going to go towards the M line as well. So the area from Z line to Z line is called a sarcomere. So Z into Z line is a sarcomere. And the sarcomere is the functional unit of muscle. So within a myofibril, remember, skeletal muscles, these muscle fibers are long. Okay, so basically a myofibril is a bunch of sarcomeres end to end making up the whole myofibril. So sarcomere to sarcomere to sarcomere, like box cars. Okay, so these are like train cars, and they're connected one to another to another to another by the Z line. So when we have muscle contraction, all those Z lines are pulled toward M lines, and that makes the whole muscle shorten. Okay, so next we're going to talk about how the muscle cell is stimulated.